It's a time for more packages from China. Let's go. Okay, so there's nothing much on the box nowadays. We have nothing really of an information what we had like in the previous model, but let's do a little bit of an unboxing together. So let's see, we're having the very nice, let's say, foam over here. They're using these high quality foams nowadays, or at least like for some time now. So in here we having the RG557, and at first it is actually that the box says like purple translucent, otherwise I would almost think it's going to be just black translucent. However, I love this see-through thingies, and yeah, you can just see like how everything is, the construction. And the first thing we're going to be doing is sniffing a little bit. Oh man, no, some of these devices were like smelling really nice, and I like that. Oh, getting my kick. So okay, let's turn it on over here. So click on the bottom button to select your language. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing first. Okay, let's choose English. There's nothing much actually to choose. Next up, so let's see what we can actually do. Click on the bottom for the Wi-Fi. We're going to be skipping it for now. Click on the bottom to set your time and date. So we can just actually go in here, set everything up. Okay, automatically time zone. Next, and let's see, so automatically it's going to be configured. So this is an Android device, so what I understand of, you're going to be adding all kinds of, let's say, your files to it, setting up emulators and everything. But let's see how far we can actually get now. I just want to do this quick unboxing with you. So at the bottom we're going to be having the option for adding a micro SD card over there. So in here we have the USB-C connection, audio jack, and we're having two speakers. I'm really curious how they will sound. Over here at the top we're having volume control, the on and off switch, and an LED for the indication of the battery. So the output for the fan, as you can see it over here when it comes to construction, like a very nice micro switch. It's one of the style that they were using the analog, let's say, triggers. So that is kind of nice. You can see actually the construction, there's nothing wrong with this particular one. I had some weird things going on with, I think it's not like the RG So we have these very cute, tiny, let's say, joysticks. So, and yeah, you're going to be hating it or loving it. So when it comes to the ABXY, when you're looking at this construction, so it does have like a very long travel, a little bit of wiggle to it. So I always love to do the wiggle test of the wicket. Next up, having select start, the button of the Anbernic, and the home button for the Android. So when it comes to the D-pad, this thing does have like a very nice feel to it, and you can just actually see the travel. But later on we're going to be testing this out in fighting games to see how great it is. But what is going to be happening when actually booting the device up for the first time, and after the setup everything will be reconfigured. I really hate these Android devices when it comes to setting up, because it's such a pain in the ass. However, when we're going to be looking at it, you can see everything is already enabled when it comes to, let's say, emulators. So take note that sometimes it would be interesting to actually get yourself like neither SX2 or Dolphin, but I just wanted to also see unboxing wise what you're getting out of the box. So a lot of emulators have been implemented, so this is going to be super easy when it comes to that. So we're having here the gamepad tester, and so far everything seems to be working just fine when it comes to the joysticks. You see there's no weird things going on over there. D-pad, you can test it out and everything. However, it's kind of interesting to see what you can all do with this device out of the box, and you don't need to go to the Play Store to actually set it up. You can actually do that if you want to, and of course it would be great and something necessary if you want to install some games. I have a lot of stuff to my account, like Street of Rage 4 stuff and games like that, but I want to mainly focus to this. So one of the things you need to do is set up your micro SD card and putting everything in certain folders. There are already some tutorials out there, but just for now I just wanted to do it and showcase the unboxing experience. So when everything is set up, you can use the retro, or actually the retro front end, and with this from Anbernic, it's not like the most fanciest one, but what you're actually getting is a quite interesting concept when it comes to how it works, everything and everything what's going on over there. But when it comes to this particular device, they are focusing this on particularly Wii U. So actually when it comes to the 556 model, and we're going to be looking at the 557 now, this particular one I'm holding over here, we have the option to play all kinds of different games. I don't want to focus too much in this unboxing video with, let's say, the Game Boy Color, stuff like that. We'll boot up a couple of games just for fun, but we can do a little bit of more tweaking when it comes to everything. So there's so much actually we can play, and anything when it comes to the price point, you do pay a lot of money for it, but I think it's only going to be necessary if you want to play games, let's say N64, you want to get into the GameCube, Wii and Wii U, and of course PlayStation 2. So adding stuff to it, super easy, drop them in a folder and that's it. But maybe it would be fun to check out some other ways to make a different front end, and also let's push it when it comes to, let's say, some other stuff. Unfortunate. He also picks up some other stuff like the data files of some kind of game. So maybe you need to mess around with that a little bit more. But beside that, when it comes to this, everything is quite interesting and it works quite well. But let's do a little bit of an overview of the game systems and let's see what we can actually do with this. So let's start this video unboxing with the Sega Saturn. So with this Yaba Shinshiro emulator, so playing is just going to be an overall fun experience. What I did notice that I'm going to be playing with this is that my right thumb is actually touching the freaking joystick all of the time. So you need to hold it a little bit strangely, and I think this is a little bit of a downside. And also the buttons are quite small, so I need to hold my hand in a certain position that I'm not going to be touching it and bashing into it. But the overall emulation performance is on native just great. You can also do a little bit of tweaking if you want to go in a little bit higher resolution. But out of the box, this works quite well, and I'm quite surprised when it comes to the Sega Saturn emulation. But moving into some basic arcade stuff, yeah, we can play this on all kinds of different devices. So if you're into the stuff like this, I would not really recommend buying it only for arcade like this, because there are so many different cheaper options. Sometimes you're going to be paying like a $50, you have like a great device that can exactly do the same. Of course, those will not have like a beautiful display like this particular one has. I just completely missed the guy. The D-pad is very responsive when it comes to the movement. So playing for fighting games, this is going to be a lot of fun. So the audio quality on the device is quite nice, especially when you're having games like the 64 Street, if you're going to be playing this. The stereo effect is noticeable and very nice. The overall quality itself is good. I do wonder if we can get Killer Instinct to be running on this, but most of the stuff runs fine. So what is interesting with the MAME, for example, it runs through Retro R. What you can do is pressing once, and here we're having the option to make a quick load, quick save, or we can just basically shut down the emulator or hold the button and it will automatically go back. So sometimes it does ask you if you want to turn on the old game. So it's kind of interesting to see where you're going to be in GBA. But nothing actually happens. So that is not something that always works. But in this case, let's boot it up. Let's say we're going to be having a new game. We're going to be having the load state. And here you can just see we can just continue with the system and the game to a certain location. And I love it that they implement bezels to have the perfect aspect ratio and the resolution of the original game. But again, the same story applies with this. We have all kinds of different systems that can be playing GBA just fine. So one of the other interesting systems I wanted to check out is the Autonomous Wave with Dolphin Bloom. So this is one of those games that will not run, let's say, superb on, let's say, cheaper devices. And with a device like this, with the power we're having now, we can actually play these games without all this crazy stuttering. If you have some stuttering, it's most to do of, let's say, the performance of the emulator in combination with some settings. And also all of these things, all of these games so far I've tested, seem to be running fine. Same story, we can make a save over here. And we can just hold it and go back to the main menu itself. Okay, so we have been playing with all kinds of different devices, or actually systems that can be played on a freaking potato. But let's get into some God of War Chains of Kinkiness. Let's see what we can actually do with this. So now we're having the PPSPPP emulator. So next up we're going to be having a little bit of tweaking what we can do. So I want to push it all the way to 4K. Okay, let's go back. And oh man, I messed it up. I made a quick save, and between it I was messing with the SD card and I completely messed up my save. So we need to start it up. But we do have turbo mode. Woohoo! Yeah! You did notice you have like actually the touch buttons. You can just shut it down if you want to. You know what? Let's do that now. So when it comes to the controls, you can go here like on touch controls disabled. I don't want to see those anymore. And okay, so we have been set to 8 times resolution. And in here we can mess around with the settings, show FPS, yes please, and continue. And let's do a little bit of gaming. And what is absolutely amazing with this particular device, with the RG557 now, that we have PlayStation Portable Emulation set to 4K or 8 times resolution. And ooh, did that matter dip over there? We just wanted to see what happens. Let's push to the limit. Let's make a save over here. Yep, I know, you need to shoot back. Oh yeah, return fire. Return fire. So that's what we're going to be doing. But first, we're going to slice and dice. Yeah. But getting into the gameplay, I don't really notice a lot of hiccups. And yeah, this is just great. If you think about all of the different stuff that we have been testing, that we have come actually to the point that we can render these things on such a very cool device. So let's move on to one of my other favorite games I love to play is some Wipeout. The same situation with 4K rendering resolution. So but I was actually playing this game and I can tell you that the camera doesn't really do justice when it comes to the display itself. So I'm just playing around with it, and I did notice that the same situation I had before is like bumping with my thumb into the joystick over here. So, and the buttons are a little bit too small when it comes to that. So it's absolutely responsive, the joystick. But playing the PlayStation Portable games now on this kind of resolution is such a blast. The only thing I would improve when it comes to this is actually having the joystick slightly different, or maybe put the buttons on a different position, or bigger buttons, you know. So it's like me complaining about it, but maybe it's personal. Let me know in the comments if you had experience of this when you're having this device. What do you think of the buttons? But beside that, when it comes to performance-wise, this is just great to actually play these games in such a high resolution on the display and everything else. It's also possible, of course, to play some old school DS games. Oh, the speaker goes really loud. But yeah, I'm just going to be honest, that when it comes to playing these, let's say, the games, I don't really like playing the NDS on there. So I just wanted to showcase that it actually booted up when it comes to that, but I don't want to focus too much on it. So let's go back and let's take a close look at some GameCube games. And I can tell you, this playing GameCube or Wii is just really great, because this thing is capable of doing so much great overall emulation performance. So when I think it's like, even this is everything kind of basic when it comes to emulator and everything, but I love the way how this quick load, quick save actually works. Oh man, you know, every single game I can actually play. This is one of the games, this is maybe one of my favorite games when it comes to the freaking Wii. Like Wii Sports, and having this whole one with the Rhythm Paradise. Man, I love these cool games. Let's skip the intro. But the music itself is so cool. Bop, bop. So with the MMJR, let's say Dolphin, I did notice that we do have a little bit of an, let's say, weird thing going on with the audio. So it's quite unfortunate, because this is of course a rhythm game, and also the music is very important. But beside that, this is just such a blast to play this game again with a physical controller, or at least like physical controller that's attached to the system itself, because of course normally you're playing this with the remote. Some do claim to have a little bit of a delay. I don't know, let me know in the comments. Did you ever play Rhythm Paradise? And you should absolutely check it out. But how about overall, let's say, GameCube emulation? This thing is capable of running it. So out of the box, I already mentioned before with the Wii, I did notice that when it comes to the audio, I didn't have like the ultimate experience when it comes to that. However, so what you need to take consideration is that this is just out of the box experience. I just wanted to showcase. And of course we can actually do all kinds of tweaking. Vibration mode seems to be working out of the box as well. And I think it's such a cool addition. And sometimes I do really miss the vibrator motors with some of these devices. responsiveness of the freaking joystick is great. And overall, I must say that when it comes to playing the old school of Zero GX, this is just my #1 GameCube game when it comes to that. This is the only game I normally play on my original GameCube. So, but when it comes to this runs absolutely great. We're still running actually on the normal resolution. So yeah, we can just go to the quick settings. You can actually see internal resolution. We can just try to do a little bit of tweaking with that. It is absolutely possible to do that depending what kind of game you want to play. But again, this is like a situation of what kind of, let's say, Dolphin MMGR or the normal Dolphin emulator. What kind of version do you actually have on here? So that is something we can do a little bit of tweaking later on. Fast Racing Neo of the Wii U. So what I understand of this device is actually going to be more promoted as having the option to play Wii U emulation. So where I do have a little bit of a double feeling with this, because when it comes to Wii U emulation, so depending on how the compatibility is with a certain game, but also don't forget, normally we're going to be playing with a Wii U pad, so we're going to be having an extra screen. You can actually tweak and like mess around with it if you want to. I think as you're pressing over here the setting button, you can actually show the pad, which you can see over here. So we can mess around if you want to. But if you're having a game that don't really need the pad, that's going to be just great. However, so when it comes to general gameplay, I did notice that has some glitches going on. But where it comes with the non-glitch part of the game, you can see this is like looking really amazing. Graphical wise, this is such a very cool game. You can see the glitching going on over there. Maybe we can actually fix it in the future when it comes to, let's say, a different emulator. But this is such a cool Wipeout clone. I love, man. This is just such a cool game. Really get into it. It's kind of interesting, kind of weird at the same time, because you have this switching of energy level or shield. Oh, there we go. That's what I mean. And I crashed somehow. But when it comes to emulation performance, yeah, it's going to be a hit or miss. I think we're not there yet when it comes to the Wii U. It's just great. Oh crap, I accidentally pressed the wrong button. But when you're looking at this, you can also play all kinds of different games. Like a two-dimensional game, Shovel Knight seems to be working just fine. The question remains, so if you're having a two-dimensional game like this, can we get it from the Play Store, and what is the difference when it comes to that? So I've been playing through this Shovel Knight game. You cannot actually see it because I was already get damaged in the first part of the stage. But the point is that when you're going to be playing this runs absolutely perfect. And this is a very fun, enjoyable experience out of the box. And again, I think when it comes to Wii U, it's just fun to see all of these games getting in place on these devices. Just like insane to see how fast everything is moving. Where we had like maybe a couple of years ago, we did have like struggles with PlayStation Portable. Now we can actually play Wii U. But yeah, the question remains, what kind of platform do you think is going to be important? For the simple reason, if you're going to be messing around with, let's say, all kinds of different, let's say, game systems, and what do you actually want to play? Well, this thing has a lot of cool, let's say, compatibility with many different systems. So for example, also when it comes to PlayStation itself. So moving on to the PlayStation 2, and this seems to be running just fine on the app that is actually on here. Everything is just great. So when you're going to be looking into the buttons, you can actually see this over here, this meter, where you can just accelerate. I think when you had the original PlayStation 2 controller, have these sensitive buttons, or this press sensitive buttons, how they call them. So this is not, of course, happening over here. But again, I think it doesn't really spoil the fun at all. So when it comes to emulation, this is just great. And out of the box, I'm surprised how well it actually runs. Because you would say, like, most of the time we're having like a device out of the box, we do need to do a lot of tweaking. So this is going to be an interesting thing to check out later on. So when it comes to actually, let's say, playing around with it. I made a quick load, quick save, that also seems to be working just fine, as you can see over here. So you need to use the emulator itself. There's not like this fancy menu. Maybe we can tweak it with a different front end. But out of the box, I must say, it's quite nice. So moving on to the Raiden 3 game, man, I love myself some shmups when it comes to that. The only downside is that we're having a game that should be played on a vertical screen like this, and now we're having this very tiny, let's say, screen. I think this is, it's fun that's actually going to be playing, but you know, this massive black bar at the left or right, you don't find it really enjoyable when it comes to that. But also this seems to be running fine, and you know, this is just great to see all kinds of games. And again, you can just do a little bit of tweaking in the emulator, go into the settings to see if we can push it out and get a little bit better overall performance to there. And yeah, we have all kinds of settings you can tinker with when it comes to that. But also, let's do a little bit of a chit chat about the God of War 2 game. So let's do a little bit of it also in gameplay, how this will run out of the box. So the surprising part about this particular device is that it does run quite well when it comes to that. It's absolutely a fun, let's say, overall device. So I didn't want to tinker too much with the internal resolution, just to see what you're getting out of the box. But yeah, this seems to be a very pleasurable and very fun overall experience. Slice and dice with it, God of War. God of War, the change of kinkiness. Oh no, wait, there's a different game from the PSP. But yeah, going through a couple of these games, this is just a lot of fun. Let's make a save state over here. And let's do a quick save. You also have different slots. And that's actually it. The Dimensity 8300 is a quite powerful chip combined with the GPU, the Mali G650MC6. So 5+ inches of fun when it comes to the AM OLED with a resolution of 920 with 1080, 256GB built-in storage, Android 14, having Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.3 and 5500 mAh battery. That gives us 8 hours of gaming fun.